Today is August the 17th. What does it mean to be as wise as serpents? Let's find out together as we study Matthew chapter 10. So in the Sermon on the Mount, after the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus begins to send out his disciples. As he sends them out, he comes to verse 16 in Matthew chapter 10. Look, I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves, so be as shrewd as snakes and harmless as doves. Some of the other translations say, be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. This translation is probably better. Shrewd as snakes, harmless as doves. If you look at the word shrewd, other places it's translated be wise. It occurs a dozen times or so in the New Testament. Actually, there are two words for wise in the New Testament, two words for wisdom. The first word is the word that you're probably more familiar with, Sophia. It's even become a name that we use today. Sophia is not the word that's used here. Here we have the other word. Sophia tends to refer to God's wisdom. The other word is never used of God, it's only used of man. Sophia is used of God and man. It seems that the implication is that man draws that kind of wisdom from God. The other kind of wisdom, the other word is phronimos. It literally means to be heady, to be shrewd. What it applies to is a more practical wisdom. It's not pitting a divine wisdom against an earthly wisdom. Both wisdoms are presented in very positive settings all throughout the New Testament. In fact, phronimos, the word that occurs here, be as wise as serpents, as shrewd as serpents, is the word that Jesus uses in Matthew chapter 25, when he tells the parable of the 10 wise and the 10 foolish virgins. The virgins were part of a wedding party waiting for the arrival of the groom. The wise carried extra oil for their lamps, so that when their lamps with a wick that began to burn the oil that was in them, the oil burned down, they had extra oil to pour into it. They were shrewd, they thought ahead, they planned ahead. Now we can't understand the word wise, the word shrewd, without looking at the word innocent. And again, there are several different words for innocent in the New Testament. 3. The first two really refer, they're used much more than this one. They really refer to innocence in the sense of not being evil, not planning against other people. But this word specifically means pure. It means unmixed. The word without the un particle at the beginning of it is used to speak about how God mixes his cup of wrath with his cup of anger. He mixes those two together and gives them to the beast to drink. Innocent in this sense means perfectly pure. Now, if you look at it, it appears that what Jesus is saying is looking at serpents and doves. A serpent is somewhat aggressive. A serpent presses the situation. A serpent doesn't wait for things to happen around it. It makes things happen. The dove is passive. Now, it seems that Paul is saying the same thing in Romans chapter 16, verse 19. There, Paul says that we should be wise in doing right and be innocent in doing wrong. When it comes to evil, we should be passive. We should not partake in that. When it comes to doing what's right, we should be aggressive. We should actively pursue it. What Paul seems to be saying here, you need to know when to be active and when to be passive. Now, the context that this occurs in, Paul is sending his 12 disciples out. He has just said, I'm sending you out as sheep among wolves. In the very next verse, he says that they will hand you over to the courts and you'll be flogged. You'll be imprisoned. You'll be persecuted. You'll be pursued. Know when to be active. Know when to be passive. Be shrewd as serpents. Be harmless as doves. So my question for you today, where are you? Do you need to be active? Do you need to be passive? We need God's wisdom to know the difference. When someone objects to what we're saying or what we're doing or what they believe that we believe, sometimes it's best to be a dove and be passive. Sometimes it's best to be a serpent and to press the case. Pray today that God will give you the wisdom to know when to be aggressive, when to be passive. Like, follow, and subscribe to this devotional on whatever platform you use to listen to it. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Tomorrow, we'll answer the question, what does it mean to assume?